The bishop is worth 3 points. This is according to the best system and often taught to chess beginners. A fully unleashed bishop is worth around 3.15 and 3.5 points. We have great players like Emmanuel Lasker, Gary Kasparov, Bobby Fischer, and AlphaZero rating the bishop greater than 3. But there's just one big problem though. Casual players don't know how to fully utilize the bishop, making the average value around 3. Maybe 2 if they're bad, worst case 1. Trying to improve your bishop can be really difficult. So in this video, we're going to bridge that gap using knowledge. Now here's some 10 bishop tips to turn your bishop into a hero. Number 1. Trade to open positions. Bishops love open positions. You should open up with trades in the center and the middle game so that you can take advantage of squares you've made. And if you created pawn islands along the way, that helps too. Number 2. Maximize using open diagonals. Open diagonals have no pawns or pieces on them. Use these diagonals against the opponent's king for a really dominating attack. Number 3. Attack from far away. Bishops are like long-range attackers, just like a sniper. While your opponent's attention is on the king's defense, you have your bishop safe and tucked in. An opponent who did not master board vision might get confused, and a higher rated opponent will simply just have no words. Number 4. Pawns on opposite colors. When you have one bishop and same colored pawns as your bishop, this causes a big problem in the endgame. Look at the light squares. Now look at the dark squares. Very weak. The king has access if you're not careful. Now look at this new pawn structure. Pawns control the dark square. Bishops control the light square. Together, they are strong. Number 5. Escaped locked pawn chains. A pawn chain is just a group of pawns that are placed diagonally, but it can also create a bad bishop with no squares. Black also faces a similar problem. In the opening, try to place your bishop outside first and secure a good diagonal. Then afterwards, you can create a pawn chain if you like. But now your bishop is always going to be fine because it's outside the pawn chain. Number 6. Sacrifice pawns for activity. Sometimes you can't avoid a bad bishop. Consider sacrificing a pawn to open up your bishop, because your bishop's activity is more important than the pawn, and activity is sometimes more important than a pawn. Number 7. Play on both sides. 2 diagonals can give you more squares, which can lead to more potential targets. But sometimes all you need is one good diagonal to control the game. Now, here's the key. The potential threat of your bishop in combination with constant pressure will lead you to eventual tactic. And now you can win the game. Number 8. Trade when less valuable. If your opponent has a strong knight, consider trading it for your bad bishop to neutralize the attack. If your opponent has a better bishop and you have a bad bishop, consider trading it, and sometimes you can do that with a tactic. A good bishop does not only depend on how many squares it controls. For example, if you could magically trade your bishop for the rook, it leads to a worse position, but you might be wondering why. In this case, your opponent can take control of your dark square weaknesses and also has a tricky pin. Number 9. Master common bishop tactics. The Greek gift sacrifice is a very common example, sacrificing the bishop for a great checkmate attack. Master the bishop-queen battery for loss of pressure on your opponent. Master pins, skewers, and fork. You need to know all of them. Number 10. Don't trade without reason. Don't trade your bishop for a knight when they can recapture back, especially with the bishop. If you want to mess up your opponent's pawn structure, then sure. But if you're going to mess up their king side pawn structure, then that is a definite yes. Or if you're just going to win a pawn after a trade, that's fine too. Congratulations, your bishop is now better. If you learned something, please like and subscribe.